There it goes. One of the final motos of this year's Rocky Mountain ATV&C Amateur National Motocross Championship, sanctioned by the AMA, presented by Lucas Oil. Jason Weigandt here. It's the Weege Show, brought to you, of course, by Racetech and Gold Valves. I want to give you a set. There's an email link. Follow it. Try to win. They'll make your suspension plusher with better bottoming resistance, and they're made and engineered in the USA. And again, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you for free. Just send them an email. This section of the pits, it's all starting to pack up. Last day of racing, a lot of riders. Motos are now done. We only have 4 to go here on a Saturday. I like to call this area of the pits the country club. We got a creek back here that you've probably heard a ton about. Here, I'll just show it to you. The people have to get here sometimes 3 to 4 weeks in advance, and they pay 4 weeks worth of camping fees just to get the absolute best spot, because normally it's so hot down here that you got to dunk in the creek to try to cool off. This year the weather was good, but for the most part, the creek is one of the few places to get relief that you can have at this place, and the parents will sacrifice everything. 4 weeks on the road just to get this spot next to the water. Heck yeah, they'll do it. They'll do anything. Because at this level, it's not just about the rider, it's not just about the team, it's really about the parents. That's what gets you here. Now I know it gets a lot of people mad when they hear about that. They're like, oh, these people, why are they putting so much pressure on their kids? Why are they trying so hard? They're living vicariously through their kids, or they're putting too much pressure on their kids. This sport is in a pretty unique niche that builds that experience. In a stick and ball sport, you get dropped off with the coach and go out on the field with you on the sidelines, not part of the action, as soon as you start playing. In other motorsports, well, it's so darn expensive, you're out. I know people are gonna complain that motocross is getting too expensive these days. And yeah, if you wanna spend huge money on motorhomes or one of these semis, yeah, it can help, but it don't help like it does in car racing. Talent still overcomes equipment in motocross, much more so than any other motorsport. So this is the attainable motorsport. You can scratch just enough money between the couch cushions if you skimp and save to maybe get your kid to the top if he has the talent. In motorsports, you got to spend literally millions of dollars a year. You have to have a sponsor or it will not happen. So it's attainable. It's a goal that they think they can get to in this sport. And it all starts with mom and dad putting gas in the bike and bringing it to the racetrack. It doesn't start with a coach. So it's a different relationship here than most athletic sports, but like most athletic sports, you know your kid is the true star, not the bike or the team that's around him. Creates a unique niche, creates a unique relationship, and it gets talked about every year here at Loretta's that the parents are too gnarly. Plenty of examples here. In 2019, we had a whole bevy of protests in the PW50 shaft drive class. We had some protests over a crash in a red cross flag situation in an 85 class, and these parents were getting gnarly. It's just part of the drill here. To try to go to the elite level, and when I say elite, we're talking 1%ers or half a percenters at the top of any sport. It's not a normal situation, whether you're Scott Stepkovic there, whether you're one of the best basketball players or best football players, best race car drivers, or best motocross racers. The experience at the very top is different. And there is a chance that the gnarly parents who are way too aggro and put way too much pressure on the kids, I hate to say it, I think for some situations, it actually helps. There are stories of pros who made it, who said the motivation of knowing the mortgage was on the line, they had to perform, they had to train, they had to put in their motos, helped, like it or not. Now, I'm sure that's not the situation with everyone. What up, Big John? He's head of security. I wish he had a GoPro. He'd have way better stories than I do. There are stories of that motivation, of the parents putting it all on the line for their kids, making the difference. And that's why it just kind of comes with the territory, not for all riders, but for many. Now, I talked to one of the most successful teams out here. I don't want to name names and tell you exactly what team it is, but they've probably done the best job through the years of transitioning amateurs into the pro ranks under their brand. Again, I don't want to name names, but here's a hint. Totally video bombing, I love it. Anyway, that green team back there is one of the best. Packing it up, Doug?
Yes, sir.
Packing it up. Doug Duchette's been tuning these Team Green motorcycles for a long time. So I talked to some of the brass behind those Kawasaki teams. Again, I don't want to name names, but maybe you recognize that brand. He said, yeah, the parents are gnarly. It's just part of the job. You got to take them in. You can't push them out. You're talking about riders who have been raised going to the races with their parents and trusting their parents, trusting that no matter what, the parent had their best interest in mind, maybe almost too much at times. But still, the parents are always there. You can't push them out. It is going to be part of the process here forever. And one of the more successful pro teams has realized that you have to let them be part of the process to a point. Sure, once the rider's 25, it's one thing, but in the immediate graduation from this race to the pros, it's all part of the process. There's gnarly parents this week. I know there were gnarly parents in 1982, and then 38 years after this day's 38th anniversary of the event, there'll probably be gnarly parents here. But when you're talking the elite of the elite, sometimes that's what it takes. It takes going that extra mile and the kid knowing, oh man, they did everything for me, I got to do everything for them. I even get stories sometimes down here, hey, where the kid says, my main motivation was to not let my dad down. The titles, the wins, the contingency, getting the factory ride, that all came second. Look, man, it's parents and kids. Is there any deeper connection or deeper bond or deeper motivation than that? I doubt it. We saw a little bit of it today. Poor Jet Lawrence. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, maybe won 2 pro sport titles here. His bike broke in one of them, and then he was kind of crushed, got a bad start, couldn't make it happen in the other. And the story with Jet Lawrence isn't just his talent and his speed, but it's also, oh man, his parents coming from Australia. They didn't have a lot of money. They scraped it together. They got their kids to Europe. They got their kids to the US. They want it so bad. They deserve it so much for how hard they work. The story's wedded right in there. Brian Deegan's kid, he won his 85cc race today. You watch Brian Deegan's kid in the corners. I know he's like the youngest kid to backflip ever. Guess what, man? He's got fundamentals like I haven't seen in many riders that are, I think he's 13 years old. His skills in rutted corners, which don't come from learning backflips or riding California tracks, no, they're impressive. You know, his dad knew what he had to work on if you want to succeed here at Loretta's. Good guidance from the dad. A wild final moto in the 125 schoolboy class. Jeremy Ryan, son of the 87 Daytona Supercross winner. Ricky Ryan had a bad knee that day, rode in the mud and took a privateer bike to a Supercross victory. That is the stuff of legend. Jeremy Ryan, his back was against the wall, was gonna lose the title until the last lap when a rider fell. He's riding with a freshly broken leg. Only been back on the bike a few weeks. He was tired, it was hurting. He still made it happen. He dug deep, just like his dad did. Jeremy Ryan won a title. That's the relationship that counts. What's up, gang? Where are you guys headed?
Probably go watch the next moto.
All right, it's not over yet. We're almost done, but we're more fun to be had.
Awesome job, guys.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thanks for the support. There are tons of stories of riders who made it this year, who didn't get what they wanted this year, but that's okay. You know that behind all of them are parents that want it just as bad as they do, if not more. Is that an ego thing to the parents? Are they living through the kids? I don't know. I could write a psychological exam on all these things. But the difference between the pro racing, where the teams want it real bad, I'm vlogging right now. Look, you're one of the gnarliest. We know, Larry Brooks, we know you want to win races. That's what I'm talking about right now. But the families here, that's a whole nother level. Oh, yeah. Their motivation is insane. Absolutely. It's all just part of the deal, right?
Yeah, no, amateur racing has definitely gone to a new level. It's from where I left it back in the day and where it is now, it is definitely gone. I don't know. It's like factory teams out here.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like you racing as a pro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's incredible. I mean, it's actually really, really fun. It's cool to see.
Mm-hmm. Good luck managing all that.
Thank you.
Suzuki kind of back this week, by the way. They had a really good week. They didn't get the B-class titles they wanted, but they were in the hunt. Look, Larry Brooks would know, man. He's one of the gnarliest guys out there. One of the gnarliest team managers, but he's not as gnarly as some riders' gnarly dad. Just part of the deal. Loretta's now, Loretta's forever. The factory part ramps up, the bikes get better, a little bit more money is spent. Hunter Yoder, nicely done today, dude.
Thank you.
450B limited champ right there. But the parents are always gonna be the linchpin of this whole deal. They get you to the races at first, they motivate you at the races like no other. It's kids and parents. That's Loretta's this year. Thanks for watching the Weege Show. Just a few motos left.